كمثله شيء وهو السميع البصير. وهذا شهر عظمته وكرمته وشرفته وفضلته على الشهور، وهو الشهر الذي فرضت صيامه عليه، وهو شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان، وجعلت فيه ليلة القدر وجعلتها خيرا من 1000 شهر. فيا ذا المن ولا يمن عليك، من علي بفكاك رقبتي من النار، في من تمن عليه وأدخلني الجنة برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم أدخل على أهل القبور السرور. اللهم أغني كل فقير. اللهم أشبع كل جائع. اللهم اكسو كل عريان. اللهم اقضي دين كل مدين. اللهم فرج عن كل مكروب. اللهم رد كل غريب. اللهم فك كل أسير. اللهم أصلح كل فاسد من أمور المسلمين. اللهم اشفي كل مريض. اللهم سد فقرنا بغناك. اللهم غير سوء حالنا بحسن حالك. اللهم اقضي عنا الدين وأغننا من الفقر، إنك على كل شيء قدير. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم رب شهر رمضان الذي أنزلت فيه القرآن وافترضت على عبادك فيه الصيام، صل على محمد وآل محمد وارزقني حج بيتك الحرام في عامي هذا وفي كل عام، واغفر لي تلك الذنوب العظام فإنه لا يغفرها غيرك يا رحمن يا علام. وصلى على
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم إني أفتتح الثناء بحمدك وأنت مسدد للصواب بمنك، وأيقنت أنك أنت أرحم الراحمين في موضع العفو والرحمة، وأشد المعاقبين في موضع النكال والنكمة، وعظم المتجبرين في موضع الكبرياء والعظمة. اللهم عزمت لي في دعائك ومسألتك، فاسمع يا سميع مدحتي، وعجب يا رحيم دعوتي، واكل يا غفور عسرتي. فكم يا إلهي من كربة قد فرجتها، وهموم قد كشفتها، وعسرة قد عقلتها، ورحمة قد نشرتها، وهلكة بلاء قد فكفتها. الحمد لله الذي لم يتخذ صاحبة ولا ولدا، ولم يكن له شريك في الملك، ولم يكن له ولي من الذل، وكبره تكبيرا. الله أكبر. الحمد لله بجميع محامده كلها على جميع نعمه كلها. الحمد لله الذي لا مضاد له في ملكه ولا منازع له في أمره. الحمد لله الذي لا شريك له في خلقه ولا شبيع له في عظمته. الحمد لله الفاشي في الخلق أمره، وحمده الظاهر بالكرم مجده، الباسط بالجود يداه، الذي لا تنقص خزائنه ولا تزيده كثرة العطاء إلا جودا وكرمه، إنه هو العزيز الوهاب. اللهم إني أسألك قليلا من كثير ما حاجة بي إليه عظيما وغناك عنه قديم وهو عندي كثير وهو عليك سهل يسير. اللهم إن عفوك عن ذنبي وتجاوزك عن خطيئتي وصفك عن ظلمي وسترك على كبيه عملي وحلمك عن كثير جرمي عندما كان من خطئي وعمدي أطمعني في أن أسألك ما لا أستوجبه منك الذي رزقتني من رحمتك وأريتني من قدرتك وعرفتني من إجابتك فصرت عدوك آمنا وأسألك مستعنسا لا خائفا ولا وجلا مدلا عليك فيما قصدت فيه إليك فإن أبتى عني أتبت بجهلي عليك ولعل الذي أبتى عني هو خير لي لعلمك بعاقبة الأمور فلم أر مولا كريما أصبر على عبد اللئيم منك عليه. يا ربي إنك تدعوني فأولي عنك وتتحبب إلي فأتبغض إليك وتتودد إلي فلا أقبل منك كأن اليد تطول عليك فلم يمنعك ذلك من الرحمة لي والإحسان إلي والتفضل علي بجودك وكرمك فارحم عبدك الجاهل وجد عليه بفضل إحسانك إنك جواد كريم. الحمد لله مالك الملك مجري الفلك مسخر الرياح فالك الأسماء ديان دين رب العالمين. الحمد لله على حلمه بعد علمه والحمد لله على عفوه بعد قدرته والحمد لله على طول أناته في غضبه وهو قادر على ما يريد. الحمد لله خالق الخلق باسط الرزق فالق الإسماء ذي الجلال والإكرام والفضل والإنعام الذي بعد فلا يراه وقرب فشهد النجوى تبارك وتعالى. الحمد لله الذي ليس له منازع يعادل ولا شبيه يشاكل ولا ظهير يعازد قهر بعزته العزة وتواضع لعظمته العظمى فبلغ بقدرته ما يشاء. الحمد لله الذي يجيبني حين أنادي ويسر علي كل عورة وعناسي ويعظم النعمة علي فلا أجازي فكم من موهبة حنية قد أعطاني وعزيمة مخوفة قد كفاني وبهجة مونكة قد عراني فأثني عليه حامدا وأذكره مسبحا. الحمد لله الذي لا يحلق حجابه ولا يغلق بابه ولا يرد سائله ولا يخيب عامله. الحمد لله الذي يؤمن الخائفين وينجي الصالحين ويرفع المستضعفين ويدع المستكبرين ويحلق ملوكا ويستخلف آخرين. والحمد لله قاسم الجبارين مبير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين نكال الظالمين صريخ المستصرخين موزي حاجات الطالبين معتمد المؤمنين. الحمد لله الذي من خشيته ترعد السماء وسكانها وترجف الأرض وأمارها وتموج البحار ومن يسبح في غمراتها. الحمد لله الذي هدانا لهذا وما كنا لنهتدي لولا أن هدانا الله. الحمد لله الذي يخلق ولم يخلق ويرزق ولا يرزق ويطعم ولا يطعم ويميت الأحياء ويحيي الموتى وهو حي لا يموت بيده الخير وهو على كل شيء قدير. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك وأمينك وصفيك وحبيبك وخيرتك من خلقك وحافظ سرك ومبلغ رسالاتك أفضل وأحسن وأجمل وأكمل وأزكى وأنمى وأطيب وأطهر وأسنى وأكثر ما صليت وباركت وترحمت وتحننت وسلمت على أحد من عبادك وأنبيائك ورسلك وصفتك وأهل الكرامة عليك من خلقك. اللهم وصل على علي أمير المؤمنين ووصي رسول رب العالمين عبدك ووليك وأخي رسولك وحجتك على خلقك وآيتك الكبرى والنبأ العظيم. وصل على صديقة الطاهرة فاطمة الزهراء سيدة نساء العالمين. وصل على سبط الرحمة وإمام الهدى الحسن والحسين سيدي شباب أهل الجنة. وصل على أئمة المسلمين علي بن الحسين ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي والخلف الحوض المهدي حججك على عبادك وأمنائك في بلادك صلاة قصيرة دائمة. اللهم وصل على ولي أمرك القائم المعمل والعدل المنتظر وحفه بملائكتك المقربين وأيده بروح القدس يا رب العالمين. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم اجعل الداعي إلى كتابك والقائم بدينك استخلفه في الأرض كما استخلفت الذين من قبله. مكن له دينه الذي ارتضيته له. أبدلهم من بعد خوفه أمنا يعبدك لا يشركوا بك شيئا. اللهم أعزه وعزز به وانصره وانتصر به وانصره نصرا عزيزا وافتح له فتحا يسيرا واجعل له من لدنك سلطانا نصيرا. اللهم أعزر به دينك وسنة نبيك حتى لا يستخفي بشيء من الحق مخافة أحد من الخلق. اللهم إنا نرغب إليك في دولة كريمة تعز بها الإسلام وأهله وتذل بها النفاق وأهله وتجعلنا فيها من الدعاة إلى طاعتك والقادة إلى سبيلك وترزقنا بها كرامة الدنيا والآخرة. اللهم ما عرفتنا من الحق فحملنا وما كسرنا عنه فبلغنا. اللهم المم به شعثنا واشعب به صدأنا وارتق به فتقنا وكسر به كلتنا وعزز به ذلتنا واغن به عائلنا واغز به عن مغرمنا واجبر به فقرنا وسد به خلتنا ويسر به عسرنا وبيز به وجوهنا وفك به أسرنا وأنجح به طالبتنا وأنجز به مواعيدنا واستجب به دعوتنا وآتنا به سؤلنا وبلغنا به من الدنيا والآخرة أعمالنا وآتنا به فوق رغبتنا يا خير المسؤولين ووسع الموتين. اشف به صدورنا وعذب به غيظ قلوبنا واهدنا به لما اختلف فيه من الحق بإذنك إنك تهدي من تشاء إلى صراط مستقيم. وانصرنا به على عدوك وعدونا إلى الحق آمين. اللهم إنا نشكو إليك فقد نبينا صلواتك عليه وآله وغيبة ولينا وكسرة عدونا وقلة عددنا وشدة الفتن بنا وتظاهر الزمان علينا فصل على محمد وآله وعنا على ذلك بفتح منك تعجله وبزر تكشفه ونصر تعزه وسلطان حق تزهره ورحمة منك تجللناها وعافية منك تلبسناها برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم برحمتك في الصالحين فأدخلنا وفي عليين فارفعنا وبكأس من معين من عين سلسبيل فاسقنا ومن الحور العين برحمتك فزوجنا ومن الولدان المخلدين كأنهم لؤلؤ مكنون فأخدمنا ومن ثمار الجنة والهوم الطير فأطعمنا ومن ثياب السندس والحرير والاستبرق فألبسنا وليلة القدر وحج بيتك الحرام وقتلا في سبيلك فوفق لنا وصالح الدعاء والمسألة فاستجب لنا وإذا جمعت الأولين والآخرين يوم القيامة فارحمنا وبراءة من النار فاكتب لنا وفي جهنم فلا تغلنا وفي عذابك وهوانك فلا تبتلنا ومن الزقوم والزريع فلا تطعمنا ومع الشياطين فلا تجلنا وفي النار على وجوهنا فلا تكببنا ومن ثياب النار وسرابيل الكتران فلا تلبسنا ومن كل سوء يا لا إله إلا أنت بحق لا إله إلا أنت فنجنا. اللهم صل على محمد. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم إني أسألك أن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر من الأمر المحتوم في الأمر الحكيم من القضاء الذي لا يرد ولا يبدل أن تكتبني من حجاج بيتك الحرام المبرور حجهم المشكور سعيهم المغفور ذنوبهم المكفر عن سيئاتهم وأن تجعل فيما تقضي وتقدر أن تطيل عمري في خير وعافية وتوسع في رزقي وتجعلني ممن تنتصر به لدينك ولا تستبدل بي غيري أعوذ بجلال وجهك الكريم أن ينقضي عني شهر رمضان أو يطلع على الفجر من ليلتي هذه ولك كبلي تبية أو ذنب تعذبني عليه اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد سورة المباركة الفاتحة.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين صلوات اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين الهداة المهديين سيما أولهم أمير المؤمنين وآخرهم بقية الله في الأراضين روحي ورواه العالمين لتراب مقدمه الفداء. أما بعد, continuing our discussion on Dua al-Iftitah of the Imam of our time. We said that yesterday the dua has a number of themes in it, where the supplicant is setting themselves up to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala something. But the moment that he sets himself up to go and ask Allah that request, all of a sudden he falls into a state of remembrance of something. He begins to remember all of the blessings that God has bestowed upon him, and then in addition to those blessings that God has bestowed on him, how many times he has chosen to disobey God in the face of all of those blessings that have been given to him. So we reached this part yesterday where we were saying, Ya Rab, innaka tad'uni fa'uwalli ank. That my Lord, whenever you extended an invitation towards me, I turned away from it. I mentioned very briefly yesterday about the divine breath, that in the life of the salik, of the traveler on the path to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, it is said that there are a few moments where the divine breath will blow towards them, and the salik must turn towards it, not turn away from it. If he turns towards that feeling of religiosity that is within, that he feels in himself, at that moment he will excel. His spirituality will raise up. But if he chooses to turn away from it, then he won't. He will fall, or he will remain where he is, but then the opportunity that he had to raise himself will be taken away from him. And it takes decades, years for those divine winds to come back towards a person. These tajalli that we call these manifestations, these signs of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, these signs towards Him, they don't come to a person all the time. Sometimes some of the urafa, they say in their stories that for 40 years of riyadha, of staying away from sin, of praying on time, on focusing on their spirituality, after 40 years of doing that, they're able to be given a glimpse of certain things, and then it's taken away. And then for another 30, 40 years of their ibadat, they must continue before they're able to again be blessed with that. So these moments are fleeting. It is very rare for these spiritual states to become a permanent thing for a person until they have really, really perfected themselves. And so then those states, those fleeting states become an actual state for that person. But these invitations from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they come. There's a khas invitation, there's an am invitation. There's an invitation for everyone, for all people that wish to come towards the path of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But then there is a specific khas rizq, sustenance, that is given to individuals by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when He wishes to raise them at that point. So here we say to Allah, إِنَّكَ تَدْعُونِي فَأُوَلِّي أَنْكَ. Every time you invited me towards you, you gave me the chance to change my life, you gave me an opportunity to become more godly, I turned away from you. وَتَتَحَبَّبُ إِلَيَّ. And then you began to show me love. Whenever you showed me love or fondness towards me, I showed hatred in reply to you. Whenever you showed ardent love towards me, I turned away from you. كَأَنَّ لِي يَتَّطَوَّلَ عَلَيْكَ. As if you owed me a favor. As if God was chasing me, like He owed me something. But it's not the case. So then here it comes to that realization that were it not for your constant favors upon me, I would not have survived. ظلمت نفسي وتجرأت بجهلي وسكنت إلى قديم ذكرك لي ومنك عليه. That I have been audacious in my arrogance. I have openly done dhulm on myself, and it is only your remembrance of me that has allowed me to exist. Otherwise, I was constantly ghafil of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And so then, when I realize this, I call out, Farham abdak al-jahil. Then forgive this wretched, ignorant slave of yours. Farham abdak al-jahil. وجد عليه بفضلك بفضل وإحسانك. And bestow upon him your favors, your beneficence. إنك جواد كريم. For surely you are Jawad. You are Kareem. Jawad and Kareem sometimes are translated as being two of the same thing. Both are generous. See, Jawad is generous beyond measure. But when Jawad gives from his generosity, he requires something in return. So it's no strings, it's not a no strings attached deal. But when a Kareem gives, the Kareem gives. See, Jawad gives to the one with strings attached, but also one of those strings that is attached is the one that is good towards me, I will bestow upon him. But Kareem is the one that bestows even upon the one that has wronged him. Even the one that has opposed him, the Kareem bestows upon them. The Kareem is the one that never recalls when he has bestowed. Even though if there comes a time, if we talk in human senses, the Kareem comes to a point in his life where now he is in need, he will never remind people who he has helped that I was the one that helped you, now you help me. For the Kareem bestows and does not look at having anything given to him in return. So إِنَّكَ جَوَادٌ Kareem. Not only are you Jawad, but you are also Kareem. And then we begin the praises of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And each of these praises are, again, they are linked to what we've just said. You're right here. Now I'm saying that, كَأَنَّ لِي يَتَّطَوَّلَ عَلَيْكَ, as if you owe me a favor. Yeah? Now look at the praises. Alhamdulillahi malikil mulk. Praise be to that Lord that is the King of all kingdoms, that is the King of everything. The one I was just saying a moment ago is chasing me, is constantly showing me love and I'm showing him hatred. Now I still have no shame that now I remind myself, this is Malik al-Mulk that I'm turning my back against. This is the one who I stand opposed to. Mujri al-Fulk, Musakhir al-Riyah, Faliq al-Isbah. The one that allows arcs to sail upon the seas, the one who controls the winds, the one who causes the day to break, and the one, Dayyan ad-Din, the one who administers his authority. Rabb al-Alameen, the Lord of the worlds, not just this tiny little universe, solar system that we know, but all of the worlds that exist outside of it. All of the creatures that live upon other worlds. He is Rabbul Alameen. And then, having known, again, mentioned His Qudra, His greatness, His majesty, we come to a specific type of praise where the supplicant is now also reflecting upon Allah's characteristics. It says, Alhamdulillahi ala hilmihi ba'da ilmih. It says, praise be to that Lord that shows forbearance even after having knowledge. He knows why I did it. And I stand there and I lie and I say, I'm sorry God, I slipped up. But it wasn't a slip up. He knows it wasn't a slip up. He knows I went eyes wide open towards that sin. But I still sit there and say, I'm sorry God, I didn't mean it. But He knows I meant it. I wanted that sin wholeheartedly. With everything that I'm doing, with my very wujud, I wanted it. But still He shows me hilm, ba'da ilmih. I, as a human being, will at times, when I have a little bit of knowledge about something, and someone comes and questions me about my lecture, I'll answer them once. Then they come with a follow-up. I'll reply to them, come with a third follow-up. Then now I'm starting to be agitated. By the fourth time, I'm ready to rip their head off. Then I'll be like, okay, yeah, that's fine, you're right. And I'll walk away. Why? Because I know this person's a jahil. I know this person doesn't know what they're talking about. But at the same time, I'm arrogant. So I don't want to hear anything else from them. I don't want to hear them dare to question what my thoughts are. So I don't have that hilm. But Allah is the one that has ilm, knowledge of everything, but at the same time has hilm. That even though I'm jahil about anything and everything, I still choose to give an opinion on the religion. Yeah, but I think what God meant here was this. We have many ahadith that talk about the condemning the ones that do tafsir bil ra'i, those that do tafsir of their own opinion. They look at an ayah and say, I think this is what it says. Mal'oon is that person, cursed is that person who tries to give their own opinion upon the ayat of the Quran. Walhamdulillahi ala afwihi ba'da qudratihi. Praise be to that God that forgives even though He has power, even though He has the strength. I can choose not to, when I get a bit of strength in me and, I know how to defend myself, whatever, I will walk around as if, I'm the biggest person in the room and no one will dare question me because I know if this person says anything, I can slap him or punch him and he's not going to get back up again. And so I look for those opportunities because I have qudra now that someone agitates me to the point where I can show my power off. Or on another level, in my home, everyone under me in my home is da'if in front of me. I am the qadir of that home. I have qudra. I am the one earning money. I am the one with strength. I am the one providing. So now anyone dare question my authority, I will destroy them in whatever way that I see fit. Verbally, physically. There is no afu within me. But the godly characteristic is that when you have qudra, you forgive. You forgive at that point. This is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is qadir mutlaq. He controls every single atom. Everything is at His disposal. And even though I am 100% dependent upon Him, He still chooses to forgive me. He still shows forgiveness. He still shows love. بَعْدَ قُدْرَتِهِ. Even after having that strength. وَالْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ عَلَى طُولِ أَنَاتِ فِي غَضَبِهِ. And praise be to that Lord who gives respite, gives me more and more chances, even though I stand and I provoke Him. Constantly I provoke Him. I find some way, somehow, to annoy God. I stand against God Himself. Imagine the level of my arrogance and the level of how self-absorbed I am, that I will turn against the edicts of God that He has put down in the Quran, that has come to us through the Prophet, and I'll say, yeah, but I think it's like this. Constantly provoking. If this isn't provocation, what is it? Allah has placed down the law of rule. He has put down certain things for us. This is wajib. This is haram. This is halal for you. That is haram for you. This is wajib. This you must stay away from. This is mubah. This is mustahab. And I say, yeah, I know. But I'm going to, say, well, I'll leave that to wajib part. And it's okay, it's haram, I know. But God didn't know that in this society that we're going to live in, it's going to be very difficult not to shake hands with the na-mahram. So, we got to shake hands, because that's how this society functions. There's no desire from me when I do that. The haram is because you have desire. You hear people say this. No, the haram isn't because there is desire. The haram is because God said it's haram. Lord Alfred Tennyson has this famous poem that he wrote in World War I. It says, yours is but to do and die. Yours is not to question why. Yours is but to do and die. You have no authority. As much as this may offend the people here or the people watching online, you have no authority. You are nothing. You are nobody to give an opinion on the religion against the direct orders of God Himself. When that God says it is wajib for you, then don't say, yeah, well, I think, my opinion. No. فَادْخُلِي فِي سِلْمِ كَافَةً. Enter into submission wholly. Leave your opinions to the side. But when I constantly oppose Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is that constant provocation. And then we carry on, Basit al-Rizq, Faliq al-Asbah. Again, all these sifat. That God that has everything, and He is the one acting in a way towards me as if He owes me something. As if in some way He wronged me. This is how Kareem Allah is. This is how merciful Allah is. This is how loving Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is. Alhamdulillah alladhi laysa lahu munadi'un yu'adiluh. Praise be to that Lord that has no equal, has no one to challenge Him. And it continues, and you can go and ponder over those yourself. والحمد لله قاصم الجبارين مغير الظالمين مدرك الحاربين. Destroyer of the tyrants. All of these tyrants that you see, all of these oppressors that you see, eventually their time will come. Either they face it in the dunya for some, or for some He reserves it until their akhirah. You see, there are people like Abu Lahab who faced the punishment in the dunya. Abu Lahab, when he dies, he catches a disease. Within 7 days, having struck the slave of Abbas, he comes down with the disease. Tabbat yada Abi Lahab. This disease that comes upon Abu Lahab, now his children don't want to go near him. When he dies, for 7 days his body lies in his house. No one wants to go near it. It stinks. Until the people of the area start saying, listen, you got to move his body. It's stinking. So what do the kids do? They throw a lasso, a rope around his legs, and they pull it, and then they pull him out like this to a faraway place, and then they all throw stones at him. And that's how they cover the body of Abu Lahab. So for some people, the adhab is in the dunya, and then part of it in the akhirah. But then there's others, Fir'aun, his azab, he lived the life of Riley the whole time, until at the end he drowned. But the whole time he was, Ana Rabbukum al-A'la, he was saying, I'm your greatest Lord, I'm untouchable. And the Bani Israel, they were praying and praying, but nothing was happening to him. But eventually, his time came. When he left this world, then his azab began. Ultimately, all of these tyrants will fall. Whether they face it in the dunya or they face it in the akhirah, it matters not. And then there's one particular line that I want to draw your attention to. Straight after that, for some reason, this stands out to me all the time in this dua. It says, Alhamdulillahi alladhi min khashyatihi tar'adu as-sama'u wa sukanuha. Imagine that Lord, that in His awe, out of His awe, everything in the heavens shakes from fear. Not fear that He will punish them, but fear at this shaking out of the majesty that is in front of them. وَتَرْجُفُ الْأَرْضُ وَعُمَّارُهَا. And the earth and the inhabitants shake and quiver. Those that know, those that are in tune, they will realize, they will shake, they will quiver, thinking about the majesty and the azama of Allah. Me, I'm so ghafil of my life. I'm so self-absorbed within my life. I don't care what God thinks. I don't care what God wants. And so I don't feel His presence. And so when I go to do wudu, I don't start to shake. When I stand to pray, I don't feel anything. I'm just going through the motions. Go through the motions. I tick the box because I was programmed to do that from a young age. Not because I enjoy it. Those that are Ahl Ma'rifah, they hear the tasbih of everything in the world. يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. The miracle of the Holy Prophet You know where he places the pebbles in his hands and the pebbles are reciting the kalima in front of the mushrikeen. The miracle isn't that the pebbles were doing dhikr, because يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ. The miracle was that he opened the ears of these mushrikeen to be able to hear, because that itself is a maqam. Everything in the heavens and the earth is doing tafsir. You know, there is the only one tafsir that is written by a lady, a complete tafsir of the Holy Quran, a lady, a great arifa, Khanum Amin, Banu Amin Isfahani. She was an arifa, abida. She had such a maqam that the maraji of the time would go to her for ijaza of narration of hadith. People like Sheikh Abdul Karim al-Ha'iri, the founder of the Hawza of Qom. People like Allama Tabatabai would go and visit her and gain spiritual advices from her. Shaykh Mutahari would go and take advices from her. This is a lady who used to say that I know when Malikul Maut is entering into our area, and I know which house he is going to and which soul he is taking. She says, when I was writing in her tafsir, the tafsir is called Makhzanul Irfan. In her tafsir, she says, when she was writing the tafsir of this ayah, يُسَبِّحُ لِلَّهِ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَمَا فِي الْأَرْضِ, she says, as I was writing it, I could hear the dhikr of all of existence around me, of the trees, of the walls, of the houses, of everything around me. I could hear it doing dhikr. So everything is in this state of remembrance. Everything, min khashyatihi tar'adu as-sama'u wa sukkanuha. Everything is shaking. The very foundations of existence acknowledge Him. And when we begin to allow God to enter our lives, and we begin to live more godly lives, then we will begin to feel that within ourselves. So God that is not dependent upon us. So that's why we say, Alhamdulillahi alladhi yakhluqu wa lam yukhlaq. Praise be to that Lord that creates but was never created. Wa yarzuqu wa la yurzaq. And He gives, He sustains, but is not Himself sustained. Wa yut'imu wa la yut'am. He feeds, but nor is He ever fed, nor does He consume anything. And this is quite funny. This it'am al-ta'am is very important. Like one of the du'as of the short du'as, one of the things that we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for in this holy month of Ramadan, Ya Allah, give me tawfiq of it'am al-ta'am. Give me tawfiq of being able to feed people, to feed others. It doesn't say feed poor people. It says feed other mu'mineen, feed others. The tawfiq of holding iftar, inviting, much of this has been lost a lot in our modern society. Inviting people over, feeding them, having these sort of things. This is one of the fundamental tenets of the mu'min. So this is one of the things that we ask, and it's a godly trait. Yeah, we say يطعم ولا يطعم. He feeds يطعم ولا يطعم. When you meet al-ahya, He is one that raises the dead. He is the one that ويحيي الموتى. Sorry, when you meet al-ahya, He gives death to the living and raises the dead. وهو حي لا يموت. And He is the ever-living that does not die. And then after this, we go into the praises of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And this itself is showing, it's one of the requirements of dua, that when a person goes to do dua towards Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you start with the praise of Allah. Then there is this element of asking for forgiveness of one sin, knowing that I'm not worthy of asking. Then going into the praise of Ali Muhammad, because you take those that are dear to Allah using their names. And so we go through each and every one of the Imams until we reach the Imam of our time. And here he has a very specific mention. Allahumma wa salli ala wali amrika al-qa'im al-mu'ammal wal-'adl al-muntadhar. This part. Now, وَأَيِّدْهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ, and strengthen him with Ruh al-Qudus. What is Ruh al-Qudus? Some have said that Ruh al-Qudus is Jibra'il. Others have said no, Ruh al-Qudus, according to the hadith of the sixth Imam, is a fourth type of creation. It is neither angel, nor jinn, nor human, but a fourth type of being that comes down in order to aid the awliya of Allah. وَأَيِّدْهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. With this, aid him with Ruh al-Qudus, the Holy Spirit, as is translated here. Ya Rabbal Alameen. Okay. So all this time, we've been setting up to ask, we've been setting up to ask, we've been setting up to ask for something that I want. But I never get round to it. I never get round to it. I'm just, yes, you've done this. No, I can't ask. How dare I ask? How dare I ask? Praise the Holy Prophet and Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam. And now, again, when I'm asking, I'm not asking for myself. So, أَيِّدْهُ بِرُوحِ الْقُدُسِ. Strengthen him with the Ruh al-Qudus. Allahumma ja'alhu da'iya ila kitabik. Oh Allah, make him a caller to your book. Now here, we're setting up what is the government of the Imam. What does it look like? What is it that the Imam will do? The Imam of our time. So first, he will call to the book of Allah. What is my relationship with the book of Allah? How much Quran do I recite outside of Shahr Ramadan? He is the one that will call towards the book of Allah. If I don't know what the book of Allah is, I don't know, I don't have a connection with the book of Allah, then I'm distant from him. Make him the establisher of your religion. Make him the successor or succeeded in the earth, like you have caused those prior to him to have succeeded. Establish for him his faith, this deen, establish it in this world. If I have not established the deen within myself, when the Imam comes, I'm not magically going to become a mu'min. If there is no semblance, no idea of hijab in my house, the hijab of both men and women, if there is no semblance of it in my house, when Imam comes, oh, magically I'm not going to be putting on a hijab and growing a beard and wearing appropriate clothing and interacting with members of the opposite gender in an appropriate way. It doesn't happen. He's going to come, he's going to take one look and be like, nope, sorry, you over to the side of the Sufyani. We'll take those that actually tried while we were in Ghaibah. It's harsh, but it's true. So make him the source of all power and everything. I've done all of that. I've asked for the Imam. Still haven't asked for anything for myself until now. What is it that I'm asking for? 30 days, I'm going to recite this, or 30 nights, I'm going to recite this dua over and over. What is it that I'm finally asking for? What is the aim of the believer in the eyes of the Imam of your time? Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima. Oh Allah, I ardently desire the establishment of the government of the Imam. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima tu'izzu biha al-Islam wa ahla. Give izzah to Islam and its people. وَتُذِلُّ بِهَا النِّفَاقَ وَأَهْلَهُ. And humiliate the hypocrites, hypocrisy and its people. وَتَجْعَلُنَا فِيهَا مِنَ الدُّعَاةِ إِلَىٰ طَاعَتِكَ. And include us amongst those who invite people to the obedience of you. Those that do amr bil ma'ruf and nahy anil munkar. وَالْقَادَةِ إِلَىٰ سَبِيلِكَ. And they guide them towards the true path. And then we go to this part. Allahumma ma arraftana min al-haqqi fahammalna. Oh Allah, let us bear out which you have made known to us as the truth. See, having haqq, establishing haqq, and maintaining haqq is very difficult. Many people know where haqq and batil is. Many people know I should do this. Many people know it's haram, I shouldn't do this. But they still don't do it and they still don't stay away from it. They know haqq and batil, there's a line. But they don't have the strength. Remember we were saying that a couple of days ago, one of the things that we asked on the second day was, oh Allah, strengthen me to be able to do your ibadat. One requires strength for haqq and batil. It's very easy to sell my religion in a moment for the sake of what people will say, for the sake of what a kafir will say, for the sake of a job promotion. But being able to keep that deen, being able to maintain that haqq in my life and establish that haqq in my life is very difficult. So we're asking Allah, let us bear that truth, the reality of the religion. You see, the other side of it is when the Imam comes, people will say to him, we don't want this religion that you brought, we're fine with what we have. What does that tell us? That we have distorted and destroyed and watered down the religion so much so that it no longer resembles the true Islam that the Prophet brought. And so when the Imam comes to revive that religion, we'll be like, whoa, I can't bear this. And so people will tell him, look, go back, we were fine without you. This hadith says his Shi'as, the ones that said al-ajal, al-ajal all their lives, will write letters to him and say, go back. We were fine without you. You've come with this new religion, it's so extreme, it's so hard, it's so... And this is before, and we look at our lives and our lives are already like that. This is before the Imam has even come. So what hope do I have of his blessing upon me and my household when I can't even establish haqq in my own home? What hope do I have of establishing haqq throughout the world? But still we ask for it. Allahumma inna narghabu ilayka fi dawlatin karima. Now I'm asking. And then we go on to this part. That allow me, let us attain that which we fall short to. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Allahumma al-mum bihi sha'athana. Oh Allah, through him unite us. Through him unite us. Bring us together through him. Meaning, if you want us to be united, Allah, the only way that we can be united is under the banner of the Imam. The only thing that I should look at when I'm looking towards another Shia, whether or not I should establish a link with this person, is this. It is the only thing that I should look at. Does this person have the wilayah of the Imam? Oh Allah, under his banner unite us. Stitch together our torn, this flock that has come apart, that is torn apart. Bring together our flock. The unification of the community under the banner of the Imam. Not under ethnicity. Not under language. Not under anything else. The only thing that unifies the believers is the wilayah of the hujjah of Allah. Inshallah, we'll leave it there. I think tomorrow we'll continue this and inshallah complete the dua in the 5-10 minutes that I'll have tomorrow, inshallah. We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our fast on this day. And we pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hastens the reappearance of the Imam of our time, and that we are a source of pride for the Imam, not a source of humiliation. For the acceptance of these du'as and any other du'as that you may have brought, please recite aloud salawat ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم إن الله ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما سبحان الله الحمد لله ولا إله إلا الله والله أكبر والله الحمد الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن عليا ولي والله أشهد أن